Hi, this video is from interview.com. Interview.com is a job portal. If you're looking for a job, you can post your resume with us. In this video, I'm going to talk about Spring Framework Hello World application. I've written a small application, Hello World application using Spring Framework. Let's see the demo. So before checking the program, I just want to tell you something without Spring, how it was working, and with Spring, what is the benefit. So I've made a small diagram saying that without Spring, say for example you have an application before without Spring, what happens is, say for example these are the dependency objects. Say your application wants to interact with JMS, your application wants to interact with some database, and in the client side you want to have some velocity, JSTL or struts. So without Spring, what happens is you have to create all these configurable objects and dependency objects, and you have to manage by yourself. But with Spring, what happens, your application can only interact with Spring Framework, and you can inform the Spring what you want in an XML file or using annotations, whatever you want, JMS and DB details, Hibernate, JPA, whatever it is, and velocity, strut and JSTL. So any dependency objects you can inform to Spring Framework through annotations or XML file, whatever you want. Then what happens is Spring Framework takes a complete control of creating these objects as a singleton by default and managing these objects, and whenever you request Spring to give that, it will give you. Otherwise, if you auto-wire it will automatically inject this object, these dependent objects. That's the concept. This concept is called dependency injection. So I've written a very small program application. I have a class called app, and I've informed Spring Framework about in the XML file, saying that I need this class object, hello world object, with name property. So what Spring does is it creates an object of this hello world, and it will inject in, and whenever I want this application, I can access using application context. Let's see the example so that you can understand. So this is my app application. I am going to create application context object using, and I'll pass the XML file, because the XML file is very important, because this is where we informed Spring Framework what I want, what are the properties that objects need to be set. So this is my object, dependency objects that I want Spring to prepare. So let's run this example so that we can understand. So I'm going to get this context object. I'm going to get the context object. Then I'm using the context object. I'm going to call this getBean method. Using the ID, I can access it. So the moment I call this new class path XML application context, I'm going to load. It's going to load this XML file. You can see that in the console. So loading XML bean definitions from the class path. So this is the file name. So it's going to load, and it's going to prepare the hello world. Can you see here, I didn't call any setters of this class, but this setters was called by the Spring Framework. So it is called now. So now our object is ready. I'm going to call this getBean method, and I'm going to give the bean ID. Okay, so now our object is ready. So we have called our hello world object print hello method. So can you see here, so this method we have called, and the name is already prepared by Spring Framework. So here we are loading it, and it has instantiated our hello world object. So this is how Spring Framework works internally. Hope this video is useful. Thank you and all the best.